Hello and welcome to this edition of Southern California CEO Magazine. I'm Dwight Cromie. On this episode, Vivian Ecclefield speaks with Randy Johnson, Superintendent of the Woodcrest Christian School System. Mr. Johnson addresses the current status of education here in California and discusses the differences between both the public and private institutions and the issues they both face. He also talks about their philosophy of education and how the family is essential in developing discipline, responsibility, and love as key factors in the social context of their schools.
We're here at the Woodcrest Christian School System in Riverside. We wanted to find out what they attribute their success to in such hard economic times. And we're here with Superintendent Randy Thompson. Superintendent, give us an idea. What do you attribute your success to?
Well, I think the Lord Jesus is the head of our school system, and we really strive to have what we call Christ-centered stewardship, so that everything that God puts into our hands, we are accountable to Him for the good use of it, so that the resources will be maximized.
Day to day, how do you feel like you've run things that made it a success?
Well, I think it's God's selection of people, His calling of people here. So we have a purpose, and then people are called to serve the Lord, fulfilling the purpose, and the people He has called are amazingly gifted and prepared to minister through the mission and through the efforts to see the outcomes really produced. And as God works in them and through them, then He also works in and through the students and the families to be able to have the outcomes be realized in increasing measure.
How does that work as far as outreach into the community and other associations? I'm sure that works beautifully in-house.
Well, we have a lot of support from local people, starting with our board that comes from our parent group. And then we have close associations with the Unified School District. We're supporting what they're doing locally, and we have connections with businesses. There's a lot of businesses that support us in terms of doing service for us, and we work with them. And in terms of stewardship of finances, one of the businesses that works very close with us is Premier Service Bank, and they, in our minds, have earned their name. They truly have served us in terms of helping us with our accounts, most of our financial accounts with them. Our major property loan is with them, and they've helped in terms of refinancing that for us at a lower rate in these economic times. And so some of those practical ways they have been a help, as well as some of the businesses. Some of the businesses that support us are owned and operated by some of our parents. And so there's a nice interworking connection there too. So we support them and they support us.
With all the criticism there is today of our national education system, how do you see Woodcrest in that picture? Is it set apart? How are you doing things differently?
Well, I don't think we see ourselves competitively involved with anything anybody else is doing, public or private education. I think what we are anchored on and focused on is a calling to what we call Christ-centered academics. That is a standard that God has set before us in terms of the kind of thinking, the kind of decisions, the kind of wise stewardship of resources that kids need to be trained to utilize. And then to move into this not with a selfish focus of what can I do for myself, but what can I do for others in service to God and them. And so, the values that are instilled along that line are, I think, the secret of our success, because we offer to students and to parents what they need, not only to be able to be productive employees or employers themselves later on, but also to be efficient moms and dads, and to develop families that are stable based on godly values and loving God, loving people as the core values, I would say. And so I would just say when you do things, as God directs us as people, they're successful because He empowers us to be successful.
We're with Jim Sullivan, who's the principal of Woodcrest Christian High School. Jim, give us an idea. We were talking earlier with the superintendent about criticism of education in general. Tell us how Woodcrest is set apart. How does it set itself apart?
I think one of the key ways is our focus of our curriculum. Being a Christian school with a focus on Christ-centered academics really challenges us to make sure that we help our kids understand that there is no separation of truth. There is not a secular academic content and there's not a biblical spiritual content. The two of them are the same.
There is such criticism right now of today's education system, public education. Give us an idea of how Woodcrest compares.
Well, I think fundamentally one of the advantages that we have is that we are really blessed with parents and students that really desire that strong education and as a result are very supportive, not just in sending their students here, but supportive at home, supportive in terms of the type of environment their kids get to go home to every night, providing study time, helping their students study, those kinds of things. With that and with our fundamental core on biblical truth, I think God blesses us with some tremendous results. Some of those results, if you compare our testing statistics, for example, our students' SAT scores, the Scholastic Aptitude Test, always historically have outperformed the state and national averages and outperform all of the other public schools here in this area, in the Riverside School District and in surrounding school districts, anywhere from 10 to 30 points, depending upon what aspect of the test.
You mentioned parent involvement. How important is that?
I think it's absolutely critical. We view ourselves, as I said earlier, supporting our parents. The responsibility of raising a child is primarily that of the parent. It's not that of a school. And so we take very, very carefully that responsibility to come alongside but not usurp that authority or that responsibility. So we work kind of hand in hand. The parent responsibility and their support covers a wide variety of areas. From their support at home in terms of helping kids study, challenging them, encouraging them, their expectations for their students' behavior, both academically and just behaviorally on campus, is absolutely critical. And our parents want their students involved. And as a result, they're willing to get them to athletic practices, allow them to participate in clubs and different types of extracurricular activities. And as a result, not only do our programs succeed, but individually their students succeed, both in the classroom and on the athletic field, in a choir, in any other kind of setting.
Thanks so much for joining us, Jim.
You're welcome.
And that's another success story from today's Inland Empire. I'm Vivian Ecclesfield.